Bayern win big and make a statement in the Bundesliga, and Liverpool lose late, but it opens up the title race.
Much of the same in Italy as all top and bottom spots pick up points. And in Spain, the top two continue to pull away from the rest of the field. All of this and more on this episode 114 of the No Business Soccer Podcast. Snooze, kick us off.
Let's dig in. Love it. Love the sound of the sweet, sweet tunes. I don't know. Whatever. Welcome to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Snooze. We got the full fam today. J-Fam, the Brainiac in the back. My boy Danny P on the ones and twos. But of course, everyone's hype man, Vic. What you sipping on, dog?
Well, like you remember, I am going to Scotland and Ireland in April. So I'm continuing the Scotch trend, and I just picked up a Highland Park 12-year. It's spicy. It's well-rounded. It actually kind of is like once you get up past all the brininess and kind of like the sea air, it tastes like oranges. It's actually pretty nice, but kind of hard to explain.
It doesn't sound.
Also, I had to find this bottle because you see all the little markings on it and the etching and stuff, and cool. It says Viking Honor on it. That's what the Highland Park Wolf name is. They are going away with that, so now they just have like almost a plain ass white label, and it looks like a Disney Channel bottle. I don't know. I don't think Disney Channel has bottles, but what I mean.
Like a corporate buyout where they're like, hey, we're going to save money and make this a white label from now on. Yes,
and they're like, oh, because it's more approachable this way than the black and the Viking Honor and stuff like that.
Who cares?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. So while I take a sip of this and, celebrate that I have an older bottle, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. It's the best way to help us out here on YouTube or Spotify, anywhere you're listening to us. It kind of tells people that, hey, maybe these guys are pretty cool to talk to every once in a while. So cheers, everyone.
Ding. That was a nice one. That was solid. And, it's going to be a solid day of podcasting here because we got a lot to talk about. We have a full slate of games to cover. Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga, and the Prem. And, a whole lot coming. And we also have Austin FC coming right around the corner. World Cup right around the corner. I mean, I'm just getting excited. I can't believe that we're already going to be like, at the end of this week, we're going to be mid-February. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Ooh-wee. Oh, also, Valentine's Day is coming up. I'll remind you on Thursday, but just in case. I'm telling you on Monday. Make sure you get something for that special someone in your life because Valentine's is, what is that, Tuesday? No, I mean Tuesday. Sunday? When is that? Oh, Saturday. Damn, you should have got reservations a week ago if you were going to do this a month ago. So that sucks for you. Okay. Vic, I think we're ready to jump into the leagues, right? Nothing else here?
All good here.
Okay, let's do it. Let's go to Italy.
Let's do it to Serie A. It's still there.
Disgusting.
That is
there. Disgusting.
It's I need to do away with this. It's getting caught on stuff. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Nobody likes it. No, none of us like that. Just cut it already, please. Put it in the comments, please, if you want to see him cut that nasty nail. I mean, golly, it's gross. How do you wipe your butt without scratching yourself?
With this part right here.
All right, you actually have to show it. You could. That was just like a rhetorical question. Anyway, all right, let's get on track here. We got some news and notes from around Serie A. First up, Kenan Yildiz extends his contract with Juventus through 2030, which is really cool because there was a lot of clubs around Europe looking at that contract running down, and they were trying to get this guy outside of Juve, especially at some of the bigger clubs around the world. But he is locked up through 2030, and that's pretty cool because he's been tearing it up along with our boy Weston McKennie over there. We also have a little bit of Serie C information. I don't know how to say C in Italian, but I'm just going to say C. You know what I'm talking about. And this is a clip from, or a excerpt from an article that was in The Athletic. Essentially, one of the most historic clubs in Italy, Triestina, I'm assuming that's how you say that, were amongst a series of properties searched by police on Wednesday as part of an investigation into alleged money laundering offenses. The third-tier club has been deducted 23 points over the last year for missed tax payments and administrative violations. They're unsurprisingly bottom of Serie C, Group A. I guess there's different groups down there. The reason why this is interesting, outside of it being one of the most historic clubs, apparently, according to this article, is because it is owned by the House of Doge, Dogecoin, cryptocurrency. And this has been publicly supported by Elon Musk. So it's just kind of like a big deal, apparently. I don't know. Was there some kind of craziness, money laundering going on at this Serie C club? We don't know, but either way, go check out the article. It's interesting. And last but not least, Inter fans have been banned from the team's next 3 domestic away matches after a flare was thrown towards Cremonese goalkeeper Emile Odero in Sunday's game between the two teams. Sunday, meaning not this past Sunday, but the Sunday prior. Supporters of the Serie A leaders will be banned from traveling for those games, and residents of the Lombardy region of northern Italy, which Milan is located in, will be banned from buying tickets for those matches. With Inter leading, this is what happened in the match. I don't know if we talked about it. They were up 2-0 against Cremonese. One of the Inter fans, traveling fans, threw a flare. And when I say flares, you see flares that just kind of light up, and they just they hold them up and it just turns red, smokes, that kind of stuff. This was not a flare like that. This one had a big ass bang, just pow. It's kind of like a stick of TNT from the comic books, or from the cartoons. And it just blew up. I mean, this was like 2 feet away from this dude. Blew up, hit him. I can't remember exactly if he had to go out or not. I don't think he got seriously injured, but he definitely went down for a while, and they had to check him out. They almost stopped the match. Inter fans went over there. Were just kind of disappointed, like, dude, what are you doing? And an update on this. This is not in this article, but I heard in another podcast that after that was done, the Inter fan who threw the flare got his ass whooped in the stands. Like, all the Inter fans around him grabbed him and beat the shit out of him. And so he went to the hospital because he had all these broken issues that were going on, which is, a little bit of justice, if you ask me. Yeah, like, why would you do that? Especially if that one blows up like that. Craziness. Okay, that's it for the news and notes, Vic. I think it's time.
Let's do it. Let's get into the match day. And of course, we'll start with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for Serie A match day 24. And your first match was Juve staying afloat in the Champions League positions as they somehow draw with the visiting Lazio 1-1.
This match was absolutely drunk. It was 2-2, by the way. This match was absolutely drunk. Juve were the dominant side from start to finish, but couldn't get a goal to save their life. I mean, they had at least 10 shots on target. I don't know if on target. I don't think they had that many in the full game, but you get them. They had 10 shots that were clear chances in the first half, and it's Lazio that scored the first with a counterattack that ends with Pedro putting the ball in the back of the net in front of. I mean, it was a wide angle too. Really nice finish. And honestly, I still have no idea how Juve went in at halftime down 1-0. It didn't make any sense, and the crowd was whistling them off the pitch, which is essentially like booing off the pitch, going into the locker room. And even crazier, Lazio doubled their lead right after the break to make it 2-0. And Isaksen's goal was really good. I mean, like really, really good. With him running at the back line is a perfect through ball. He gets it down. He takes a couple touches, and he finishes from another tough angle until a stoppage time goal by Kalulu levels it for the home side, and it ends in a draw. It seemed fair after both teams put on a hell of a show, but it just goes to show you the difference between the sides. Juve had 32 shots with 8 on target. Lazio had 8 shots with 2 on target, and both of them were goals. Crazy game. I say that it was a fair result for both teams. But man, Lazio, they were definitely clinical with their chances, but Juve should have won this for sure. Craziness. I don't know. Did your coworker comment about this at all? Like, did he bring it up? Because this was a crazy game.
No, I haven't even talked to him. He had a kid, so I haven't talked to him in like a couple of weeks. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Hey,
I think the only thing I get from him are a couple of like Instagram reels, and that's it. But no, nothing about a game.
Okay. Oh, well, hey. Yeah. At least he might be happy with this one then.
Yeah, he probably is. But go ahead and move on. And your second match is a return to form on both sides as Roma get a hard-fought 2-0 win against Genoa.
Sorry, I'm looking at this GIF over here. This GIF. that's in the in our chat.
Sorry, it's also Cagliari, bro. I am all sorts of messed up right now. Sorry.
It's all good. Hey, you got some strong liquor. My boy's he's making it right now. We got this.
We'll blame it on that. Yeah, right.
Yeah, there you go. So yes, Roma Cagliari. Daniel Malin, have a day, sir. We talked about how this move to Roma, he really transformed their attack and just right away has kind of taken to it like a duck to water. How about that? Is that a saying? Like a fish to water. How about that? Either way, it was on full display against Cagliari, what he's been able to do with this Roma side. We had high hopes coming in that Cagliari were for real and would be able to get something from this match at the Stadio Olimpico, but it was really, that's all it was hoping. We didn't actually think that it was anything other than that, because in the end, Roma proved that there are levels to this game, as you always like to put it, and Roma are just on another level. Cagliari, they've done good for themselves, but they're just not at that level yet.
And those are your top matches and headlines for Serie A Match Day 24. Let's get into the other matches of the match day. And let me lock in here because I'm already stumbling. But we began on Friday with a forgetful 0-0 draw between the bottom two in the table, Verona and Pisa. And I think the most memorable part of this was immediately after the game, the commentators just straight up started talking shit about him.
It's the one thing you didn't want to happen if you were these two clubs, and it happened, which means they're both almost assuredly going down. Neither of them have been able to get points off anyone else, and they got a point apiece from each other. So yeah, they might be going down.
We then move on to Saturday as Genoa can't bounce back, and they make it 2 losses in a row, falling at home to Napoli 3-2.
We had a 5-goal thriller between these two. Genoa opened the scoring. Napoli came back with 2 goals to take the lead. The second one was an incredible goal by McTominay, and it was 2-1 Napoli at the half, which is crazy. 3 goals in this game going into the half for two teams that you don't really expect that. And then in the 57th minute, Buongiorno, which is like one of the ultimate Italian last names, Buongiorno for Napoli. He loses the ball at midfield with nobody behind him. Colombo pounces on it, scores a great goal to level it for the home side, but a penalty was given to Napoli in the 4th and final minute of stoppage time. Højlund steps up, he gets his brace, and he keeps Napoli within striking distance of the Scudetto. It was a hell of a win for a completely plagued with injuries Napoli side.
And the only other Saturday match was our Fiorentina getting a draw at home against Torino 2-2.
Oh man, it is not Fiorentina's season either. This is it's not good. They went down a goal in the first half, but stormed back with 2 quick fire goals in the second half in the 51st minute and in the 57th minute, and they look to have just about grinded out a result until a free kick in stoppage time ends up in the back of the net for Torino at the death, and the points are split. It is just not happening for our Viola.
And when we move on to Sunday as Parma continue the misery for Bologna as Parma get a road win 1-0.
4 straight losses for Bologna as they continue to slide down the table. They also followed the trend of early red cards this weekend. You'll hear all about it. But they went down to 10 men in the 22nd minute. And from then on, they set up to frustrate Parma, and it almost worked out. But in the 95th minute, Parma got a goal from outside the box and went home with 3 points, and it is just more misery for Bologna.
Next up was Lecce staying out of relegation as they get the best of Udinese 2-1.
I said it. I didn't see Udinese slipping up in this one, and they proved me wrong literally in the first 5 minutes because a defender slipped in the box with the ball at his feet, and they allowed the Milkmen to easily pounce on it and score a goal early. Udinese scored a penalty to level it in the first half, and it took a free kick from the Milkmen's Banda in the 90th minute to give them all 3 points, and the crowd went wild. There wasn't much of a crowd there, to be fair, but either way, the crowd that was there did go wild.
We then move on to your No Business Soccer podcast certified belt to ass match as your number one's introduce belt to Sassuolo's ass with a healthy 5-0 win on the road.
Yes, 5-0. That's right. You said it has to be 5 at least. 5 goals from 5 different goal scorers, no less. A clean sheet and Inter keep the ball rolling. Feels like they got the Scudetto in the bag at the moment, but we'll have to see.
And your last match of Sunday was your No Business Soccer podcast top match of the week. That was Juve and Lazio. We talked about that. So we move on to our Monday night football doubleheader. And we start with Atalanta continuing their unbeaten streak with a 2-1 win at home against Cremonese.
The AT Aliens continue their pattern of draw, win, which means the next result should be a draw, but this one was fairly easy with Cremonese in a free fall at the moment. It was also a cold and rainy day in Bergamo. Gotta like the result if you're Atalanta, but just wish they could have held on for a clean sheet. That's about the only thing that didn't go right for them in this match.
And the other half of your Monday Night Football doubleheader was your other No Business Soccer podcast top match of the week. That was Roma taking on Cagliari. We talked about that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the table, as that's all for your match day. And you'll see on the match day, not the match day, on the table, Inter Milan are still your number one team. They have 58 points. They are followed by AC Milan with 50 points, a clear 8 points behind them. Napoli take the number 3 spot with 49 points, and then 3 points behind them. Rounding out our top 4 is Juve with 46 points. And then tickling the top 4 is Roma in the number 5 spot, also with 46 points behind Juve on goal differential. Go ahead and take a look at the bottom of the table, and you'll see our boys in purple, Fiorentina. They have 18 points in the 18th spot. They'd be the first team relegated if the season ended today. They're followed only by the lowly Pisa and Hellas Verona, who both have 15 points apiece and also drew 0-0, trying their best to stay on the bottom. And honestly, if you haven't seen the end of that, Pisa and Hellas Verona, they were basically like, I don't even know why Pisa's out here trying. Like, I don't know why Verona would even bring people to this match, and like, who pays to see out? Like, they were just going off. You should listen to it. So,
two teams that are trying to not lose, essentially, and like, you have to go for it because now that y'all went 0-0, you're both going down. So, like, if you're going to go down anyway, you might as well go down fighting. And yeah. The announcers apparently did not let that slide. You know, that happens. No, man, Fiorentina, a full 3 points behind Lecce now. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's enough games where I don't think that Fiorentina will be in any type of trouble. But it's hard to say that whenever they are currently in the bottom 3. So not a good look.
We'll see.
Nothing else for me on the table. Looks we got some more matches coming in. We'll be able to see a little bit more solidification of the table. So until then, I think we're good. Yeah. Anything else? Nope.
I'm all good.
Let's do it. Let's go to Germany.
Let's do it to Bundesliga.
This was a little bit of a disappointing weekend in the Bundesliga. I thought we'd see some. There was one thing that made me happy in the Bundesliga, and I'll talk about that. But for the most part, it's just about Bayern getting back on track. Whenever we all thought that maybe there was going to be some change going on, so I don't want to spoil anything else. Let's just jump into it.
Well, let's go ahead and do it, and we'll start with your No Business Soccer podcast top matches and headlines for Bundesliga Matchday 21. And we won't have to wait long to talk about this, as it's your first match and your No Business Soccer podcast certified belt-to-ass match that had Bayern returning to dominance with a 5-1 win against our Can It Be number 3's Hoffenheim.
To quote myself from the match breakdown on Thursday, which I don't like to do this, you know, I don't like to do this, but I have to. This is an exact quote that I had. We've done this before where we think a team streaking in the Bundesliga stands a chance to take down Bayern, and then they end up losing 5-1 or something crazy like that. And here we are. It happened. Exactly that, 5-1. But like some other matches around Europe, we were robbed of a good match, or at least a more competitive match, because of the red card for Hoffenheim in the 17th minute. Now, in this case, Hoffenheim looked scared to go at it. They looked like they had something to lose, and they were playing a little nervous, a little tentatively, I guess, not with the little free-flowing attitude that they had prior to this match. And they were making mistakes early and often. And I want to say in the first 10 minutes, I think I was texting in our group, 3 or 4 clear shots on target in the first 10 minutes of this game for Bayern. And it was just all from bad passes and mistakes from Hoffenheim. And it didn't make things, or I guess it did make things worse, that they got a red card very early on. And it was pretty easy from Bayern at that point. They were already having some type of luck. They were already having their way with Hoffenheim, and then a red card comes in. Kane gets a brace. Diaz gets a hat trick, and Bayern are back on track. And it's a 5-1 belt to ass, like you mentioned. I was hoping that there'd be a little bit more to it, but we'll never know, because if that red card didn't happen, maybe they would have found a little bit more confidence. I don't know. Either way, it was just another one of those games, Vic.
And your second match had Mainz continuing their run, making it 3 wins in a row with a 2-0 home win against Augsburg.
And I would also love to come on here and say I called Mainz's recent uptick in form, but it was more hopeful wishing than anything for a team that I was high on coming in, right? There's just wishes and hopes more so than, oh yeah, I know they're going to be really good, because they had been terrible pretty much all season for more than half of the season. But this was their third win in a row, and it came against an in-form Augsburg team. Both goals were penalties, so I can't praise them too much for that, but you got to win any way you can. And this is one way, I guess. I've never seen it that way, but we can do penalty after penalty for Mainz. Mainz will be glad, though, they were able to get the work done and get out of the bottom, because the next 4 opponents for Mainz are Dortmund, Hamburg, Leverkusen, and Stuttgart. So not an easy run of games at all.
And those are your top matches and headlines for Bundesliga Matchday 21. Let's go ahead and jump into the rest of the match day. And it starts on Friday as Union Berlin and Eintracht Frankfurt get a goal apiece, a point apiece, drawing 1-1.
It was not the way that Riera would have envisioned for his first game and his first match is in charge of this Frankfurt side, but they certainly did all they could to get 3 points. The scoring didn't get started until Nate Brown's 83rd minute rocket from Frankfurt. When you score the only goal in the game in the 83rd minute, you feel like it's a 1-0 waiting to happen, but a red card in the 85th, a penalty in the 87th, and bam, it's a draw, and neither team is satisfied.
We then move to Saturday as Hamburg get back in the win column with a 2-0 win at the expense of bottom of the table Heidenheim.
Hamburg are doing their very best to stay up this season, and with this win, it'll go a very long way to making sure that is exactly what happens. And we haven't got to say much this season thus far, but we get a goal from the most German-sounding name in history, Ransford Königsdorfer. What a win for Hamburg. Way to go, and Double H is almost assuredly gone at this point.
And then Saturday continues with Borussia Dortmund keeping the pressure on the top spot as they get a 2-1 win against Wolfsburg.
I was trying to think of this. This is a very random thought, but Ransford Königsdorfer is like the most German last name, just like if you're Juan Gonzalez, it's the equivalent. It's the equivalent of that, but German. Oh man, that's crazy. That's the coolest name ever.
That's the old Texas Rangers batter, Juan Gonzalez.
Oh,
you remember him?
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
You're right.
Guy, he's just like the most Mexican sounding name you can find. This is the most German sounding name.
Yeah, and he had that handlebar mustache that like all of your uncles had and stuff.
Oh, the Theo mustache. Okay.
Yeah, the Theo mustache for sure.
Well, back to Wolfsburg and Dortmund. It did not seem like Dortmund were going to rise to the occasion to get the win, to cut the gap to Bayern, but they get it done in the end, and they had to come back from a goal down on the road to do it. And the winning goal comes in the 87th minute from none other than Ciro Girassi, who scored in back-to-back games now, and hopefully keeps this up for Dortmund because he wasn't hitting the target at all recently. And now, uptick for Dortmund, uptick for Girassi. Maybe this is the antidote. Maybe this is what they needed.
And next up, we had St. Pauli pulling off the 2-1 upset over number 4 at the time, Stuttgart.
Don't let the scoreline fool you. St. Pauli won this, and it wasn't close. Stuttgart were down 2-0 until the 90th minute when Leveler scored to make the final score a little bit more flattering. St. Pauli's first goal was so good. They got a penalty, and then they got a penalty, and despite VfB having nearly 70% possession, St. Pauli outshot them 14-5 and had 7 shots on target. Stuttgart haven't lost in a while, and St. Pauli haven't done this to anybody recently. So it's a result that comes out of left field, but maybe a huge one for St. Pauli's survival, if they're able to at the end of the season.
Our next match was your No Business Soccer podcast top match of the week. That was Mainz and Augsburg. We talked about that. So we will go on to Freiburg, doing enough to pull out a 1-0 win against the visiting Werder Bremen.
And it was also another managerial debut in the Bundesliga for Daniel Thune. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but either way, he took over for the sacked Horst Stefan at Bremen, and unfortunately, it didn't go their way. But they also they had themselves to blame. You can't really go out there and get a perfect opportunity to get 3 points like they had against the Black Forest boys, and they had a ridiculous goal within the first 15 minutes of the game. So Black Forest boys come out, score early, but then they had a red card not too far after that, and they played the entire second half against a 10-man Freiburg, and Werder Bremen were not able to get it done. They put some pressure on them, but you can't play that long and not get a goal. And it's just a bad look for the new manager, but I mean, he'll have plenty of time to make it right. But man, it was so close to being something that Werder could have wrote home about. And now Freiburg gets a great win.
And Saturday ended with a 1-1 draw, but let's go ahead and get to the names. It was between Borussia Mönchengladbach and Bayer Leverkusen.
Gladbach did much, much better here as they had a really well-taken goal only to be undone by an own goal later in the first half. Neither side could finish any of their chances in the second half, and it finishes 1-1. The best part about the game is the fact that both clubs were wearing their third or alternate kits, and Gladbach was wearing, I think it's like a white and gold and black letters, really cool. Leverkusen is in like a cool blue color. I don't know. I just love it. You know how I like the different kit colors that collide. They're so different. This one was exactly that type of matchup. It was a draw, so that was okay. But the kits, that was where it's at.
Yes, very cute. We then move to Sunday as Leipzig avoid 3 straight without a win, and they get a dub against our cute little mascot Köln 2-1.
Christoph Baumgartner's brace was enough to get the win for Leipzig, and it was just what the doctor ordered for a struggling Leipzig side. Sucks for Köln, though, who kept it close and had their chances, but could not find the equalizer. And that place is rocking. I think we might need to make Köln on the old bucket list as well, because that place looked like it was a party. And we talked about it last week and how they had 50,000 people at a under 19s game. So, I mean, yeah, definitely on the bucket list.
And Sunday ended, and your Matchday 21 ended with your No Business Soccer podcast. Top matchup of the week, that was Bayern and your Can It Be number 3, Hoffenheim. We talked about that, so let's go ahead and move on to the table. And you'll see a friendly reminder of the top of the table. It's Bayern Munich back in their winning ways. They have 54 points. They are followed by Borussia Dortmund, who have 48 points in the number 2 spot. Our Can It Be number 3s are still Hoffenheim. They have 42 points. And then right behind them is RB Leipzig, rounding out our top 4 with 39 points. And then tickling our top 4 is Stuttgart, also with 39 points, behind Leipzig, of course, on goal differential. And if we take a look at the bottom of the table, you'll see Werder Bremen in the relegation playoff spot. They are in the 16th spot with 19 points. Then you'll see St. Pauli with 17 points in the number 17 spot, followed only by, of course, Heidenheim, who have 13 measly points, holding up the rest of the table in the number 18 spot, a solid foundation for Bundesliga.
I kind of feel like that's how it's going to end, too. Like, if it ended with Werder, St. Pauli, yeah, like those 3, I feel like that's those are the worst teams in the Bundesliga. Werder could make it though because they have the playoffs, so it is. Yeah, it could be. I think maybe Augsburg can start falling a bit, but they went on a run. Mainz and Wolfsburg, I have a sneaky suspicion that they'll be a little bit better than they've been recently. But yeah, sucks for Double H.
Been on a run. Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
They were in Europe a couple last season. And now going to be relegated this season. What a crazy world we live in. Okay. I think that is it for Germany. Let's move now to Spain.
Let's do it to La Liga. Dun, dun, dun.
And we had a couple of news and notes to cover here. Saturday's La Liga game between Rayo Vallecano and Real Oviedo was postponed with concerns over player safety due to the state of the pitch. Rayo had installed a new surface at the Vallecas Stadium this week, but the league said that the heavy rain in Madrid in recent days had prevented the pitch from reaching the necessary optimal conditions. And at the present time, the field does not meet the necessary guarantees for holding the match under safe conditions. So a new date is yet to be confirmed for this one, but it was postponed. There was also another postponement in Sevilla versus Girona, which was supposed to be held on Saturday, but that ended up moving to Sunday. It still took place, but it just didn't take place on that day. So with that said, Vic, let's jump in.
Let's do it. Let's go ahead and start with your No Business Soccer podcast. Top matches and headlines for La Liga Matchday 23. And your first match was one that was never in doubt as Villarreal take it to Espanyol, getting the 4-1 win.
And I kept this one up because I made it one of the matches and headlines going into the weekend, just because I felt like there was something that would change, I guess, for one of the teams. And technically it did. I just read this one completely wrong. I thought that both struggling sides would look at this as a game that they must win. And since neither side looked to have the advantage, it wasn't even close to being the case because Villarreal clearly had the advantage. Villarreal beat up Espanyol with 4 goals, and they cut through their defense way too easy time after time and could have scored way more than that. This Espanyol side have erased the entire hard work that they did for a 5-game win streak. I think it was in early December, November timeframe. But they've had 5 losses and a draw in the last 6 matches, and now they're on 4 straight losses. They're still holding on to the European spots by a thread, but that will more than likely be gone by next week. Espanyol have been so disappointing lately. It just feels like they've given up. But Villarreal needed a win like this to get themselves going, and maybe, just maybe, they can start to push back up. It's weird, though, if you're Villarreal, because, I mean, same thing with Atleti, where they're both probably more than likely going to be in the Champions League spots, but they're not catching Barca or Real. So what are you really pushing for? I don't know, but Villarreal didn't push in Europe, and they are not really pushing for the title. So it's just another wash, I guess. I don't know. It's a weird place to be.
And your second match was Real Betis, making it 2 straight wins as they get the 1-0 win against Atletico Madrid.
I'm not sure how to break this one down for Atleti. It felt like they were going through the motions. And yes, they did have a couple of goals called off for offside. But outside of Ademola Lookman's great chance, which he looked crazy out there in the stripes of Atleti, and Griezmann's offside goals, they didn't produce much. And the fans let them know. They were whistled off the pitch at halftime and at full time. It feels like a weird I don't know, end of an era, I guess, for Atleti whenever they're getting whistled off like that. Betis, on the other hand, needed to win to restore some belief and start to get them going again. And a long-range goal from the GOAT, Antony, 3 points and a road clean sheet will do just that. There's still 7 points between the 2 table neighbors, so right now, top 4 seems unlikely without Atleti or Villarreal continuing their slump, but top 5 could end up doing it for the Champions League spots at the end of the season. And right now, Betis are tickling the top 4, so top 5, good enough.
And those are your top matches and headlines for La Liga Matchday 23. Let's go ahead and jump into the rest of the match day. And it started Friday as Celta Vigo can't get out of their funk as they fall 2-1 to the visiting Osasuna.
Celta fall at home as their slide continues to 3 games without a win. And as we said that it would be coming in this match, it was close with a late winner. And yeah, the late winner comes. I mean, it's just one of those games that felt like it was going to be very close until the end, and luckily we got it. I just assumed that it would be Celta winning at home, getting out of their funk. But nope, Osasuna does it again. I'm very curious, though, what's changed for Celta. So if you're a fan of Celta, let us know in the comments what is going on with them, because 3 games, the last 3 games, this is not the side that we saw beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu and had won 4 of 5 La Liga games. It's almost like Osasuna took their place where they were in the table, and now they're just starting to swap. With 3 wins in the last 4, and now just 4 points behind Celta in the table. And not only that for Osasuna, Anta Budimir scored in his 4th consecutive game, and Osasuna are on a tear. It's starting to feel like this could be the year that they get out of that European funk and they finish inside of the European places, and we get to see them play probably Conference or Europa League. I wouldn't think Champions League at this point, but either way, it's an impressive run for Osasuna.
And then we move on to Saturday, and Saturday started with the postponement due to the field, like we talked about in the news before. So we'll move on to Barcelona staying atop the mountain as they get the 3-0 win against Mallorca.
It was a business-as-usual performance for Barca, a poacher's goal from Lewandowski, a rocket from way out from Yamal, and even a dream come true first goal for Barca teen Marc Bernal, the young talent that is coming through along with this Barca side already, along with what they already have out there. It's just crazy. It feels like every week is just a new guy coming out of their. It's not. I keep wanting to say it's blank. I'm blanking on the name, but you know what I'm talking. Their academy anyway. Yeah. It's crazy how many people are coming out of there, especially because they can't really go through and buy people like they used to be able to because of all the financial issues they're having. Well, I mean, when you have teams like Yamal and Bernal coming through, Pedri and Barsi, all these youngsters coming through, I mean, by the time they hit their mid-20s, they're going to be freaking pros that have won Champions Leagues and La Liga multiple times. I mean, it's insane. But again, the main issue with this Barca side is the same thing that happens with Flick time after time is the high line, because Mallorca were able to create 2 clear-cut one-on-one chances with the keeper from forcing turnovers high up the pitch. They just didn't have the quality to finish those off, and if they would have, maybe it would have been a much closer match. But in fairness, Barcelona scored 3. They could have scored a lot more as well.
And then Saturday continued with table neighbors doing whatever they can to stay close as Sevilla and Girona draw 1-1.
I'm looking it up.
Look up.
What do they call it? I want to say they call it La Masia. Is it Masia? I keep thinking I have no idea, but it's not. Anyway, whatever. I'm blanking. I'll bring it back up later. But yes, we were talking about Sevilla Girona. Which match was it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Sevilla Girona.
Yeah. So postponed to Sunday, but it ended up happening. And it was. I'm glad that it was, because there was a pretty drama-filled match. The game, we had a hell of an ending to this one. I guess we don't want to say it's a full-on great game, because Girona, they get their goal in the second minute of this one. And then it's a whole bunch of nothing until the 92nd minute. So 90-minute difference between the 2 goals. But the goal that Sevilla got was from Quique Salas, and he hit a screamer into the side of the net to level it for the home side. And they went crazy. But in the closing moments of the match, Sevilla defender fouled a Girona attacker in the box. And the main man for Girona, Christian Stuani, steps up to take the penalty. He's the one that's selling the tickets. He's the one that the kids have on the back of their kits. And he was the one who had his penalty saved. And it was not the day for Girona to get it done. It ends 1-1. And that's a good match for, actually, I don't know who it's better for. Let's look at the table in a little bit and we'll talk about it.
And then Saturday ended with the Real Sociedad Screaming Eagles getting a 3-1 win against the tumbling Elche.
I was like, Screaming Eagles? What is he talking about? They're not. I got you. This was, it makes sense now. This was the kind of shootout that you've come to expect from Elche games, and I'm all for it. The cool thing is that Real Sociedad won, and they made it look easy. Outside of the goal that Elche got, La Real didn't give them anything, and they put 3 up, but they really could have had 4 or 5 in this one. Matarazzo is still unbeaten with Real Sociedad, and it's starting to look like this is more than just a new manager bounce that we hear about and we see from time to time. Oyarzábal is back in form, and his team is flying. Now, they already beat Barca, but next up is a visit to the Bernabeu to take on Real Madrid. Hell yeah. I can't wait to see that.
We then move on to Sunday. Sunday as Getafe get a much-needed 2-0 win against the streaking Alaves.
Alaves had all the momentum coming in, and Getafe had none. Yet here we are, and Getafe are now a mid-table team after looking so bad for so long. Getafe are never really going to be a fun team to watch with their style of football, but their first goal was very well taken, very well worked, and they were able to grind out 3 points on the road.
Next, we had Athletic Club getting back in the win column against a Levante squad that was poised to escape relegation.
And it was La Masia. See, I knew it.
La Masia,
I was doubting. Yeah, I was doubting myself. I was doubting myself. Thank you, producers back there, J-Fam. Okay, so we're talking about Athletic Club and Levante. Athletic Club deserved this win. Let's just start with that. They looked like the better team. They looked like themselves again from the couple seasons ago, and it could be because Levante are a bottom of the table team, but either way, Athletic Club needed this win and they got it. But holy shit, Vic, if you haven't seen it yet, the 2 goals that Levante scored were absolutely ridiculous. Both of them were world-class finishes, maybe a hint of luck in both of them, particularly the bicycle kick for their first goal. But either way, I guess if you're going to go down, you might as well go down with 2 boner-inducing strikes, and they gave you that. I know they did.
Okay. Was going to look at it. Maybe I'll wait till after the podcast. But we'll go ahead and move to...
Your desk starts just going up.
Yeah. Our next match was your No Business Soccer Podcast top match. That was Atletico Madrid and Real Betis. We talked about that, so we go into the conclusion of Sunday as Real Madrid... I don't know why I said that like that. Real Madrid continue to breathe down the necks of the league leaders as they get a 2-0 win against Valencia.
And, we've given them a lot of shit recently, but this one was actually not too bad for Real Madrid. They've been making wins harder than they need to be, and it didn't go that way in this one. It was 2-0, and Valencia didn't really test them at all in the entire match, and we move on. They get 3 points. Valencia, though, looking a little... it's Real Madrid, so you kind of expect that they wouldn't do too well, but, man, Valencia not looking good right now.
And then we moved on to Monday Night Football, and that was your other No Business Soccer podcast. Top matchup of the week, that was Villarreal and Espanyol. We already talked about that, so let's go ahead and take a look at the table. And like I said, Real Madrid are breathing down the necks of the league leaders, Barcelona, who have 58 points, of course, in the number 1 spot. Real Madrid, like we said, are just right behind them with 57 points in the number 2 spot. Atletico Madrid behind them, but a full 12 points now. Jesus. In the number 3 spot, they have 45 points. Tied with them is Villarreal with 45 points as well, rounding out our top 4. And then you have Real Betis tickling our top 4, but they are a clear 7 points behind Villarreal as well. That's getting some bigger steps there.
Got steps. And, we got steps.
Yeah, we got some steps there. Let's go ahead and step all the way to the bottom of the table. As you see, Rayo Vallecano, they have 22 points in the number 18 spot. They've been the first team relegated if the season ended today. They are followed only by Levante, who have 18 points in the number 19 spot. And then, of course, Real Oviedo, who have 16 points, fresh off a win, but still on the bottom of the table. A solid foundation for La Liga.
Man, looking at that. Sorry, I was like,
you watching? You watching
I'm looking at the table. It's like 22 points for Rayo Vallecano, and what I mean 7 points technically, but we could just say 6 points up to 10. So 18 and 10 is 2 games apart, 2 wins apart. Craziness. So looking at it, Sevilla and Girona. I said I'd come back to it with the draw. Yeah, I mean they're table neighbors. They're both under mid-table. A draw was not good for either team there. So I'm not going to say who is better for, but because they both just needed to win.
Nope. And they're in that pack that you just talked about too, that from 10 to 18. So
fair enough. Yeah. They
can't even get out of that. So
yes. Did we save the table? I know we've said this like 3 weeks running or 3 podcasts running.
Every time we clip and put it on there, like it's we can go back and find them. Yeah.
Okay. Because I said let's check it in a month, and it's been 3 weeks since I said that, or 2 weeks since I said that, and it's not changed a lot. It's still pretty close down there. So anyway, I have my phone on my desk, and it's like it just runs through photos. And this is a random thought, but you said Scotland, Ireland, and I saw a picture of Scotland on my phone. And it reminded me of a story. I was at work today, and my
I'll rub it in. I'm just
kidding. Shut up. My watch is going through pictures, and our friend Ray, he's like, "Oh man, where are those?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is Prague. This is Scotland. This is Mexico." And then I do the next one, and it was Lake Pflugerville. He's like, "Dude, you got to take that one out. Like, you got to remove that." Like, man, that's hey. It's all good. It didn't have to be all exotic all the time.
Lake Pflugerville. All right.
Just it made me laugh. Probably everybody else hated that story. Whatever. Let's move on. I think it's time to go to England.
Let's do it to the Prem.
A massive week in the Premier League title race, I guess we can say, possibly even in the bottom 3. I don't know. We'll find out at the end of the season. But Vic, let's not delay. Let's not push this conversation out any further because I have a lot to talk about in this one.
Let's do it. Let's go ahead and move on to we'll start off with your No Business Soccer podcast. Top matches and headlines for Premier League Matchday 25. And your first match was, of course, one you only needed to watch the second half of, honestly, as it was a glass case of emotion for the second half. But Man City were able to get the 2-1 dub against Liverpool at Anfield.
This match was absolutely crazy. It maybe didn't feel like it to either fan base, but watching it as a mutual, it felt like Liverpool at home, they were just the better side for the first half, even though there wasn't a whole bunch going on. And when I say the better side, it just felt like neither of them were trying to lose this game, but Liverpool had a little bit more control of it, is the best way I can put it. But there just weren't any goals until there was, and until Szoboszlai's trademark free kick that completely changed directions in the middle. I mean, it was just floating one like straight, and it just curves right at the last second. Beautiful trick. Donnarumma left him standing there staring at the balls that flew past him into the net. And yeah, it was on. They were about to win this game. And again, up to that point, Liverpool deserved that goal, and they were well on the way to winning. and closing the door on the title, which is, I mean, the worst part of it all. But 10 minutes later, Vic, don't need to tell you, Bernardo Silva levels it for City, and then in stoppage time, Alisson brings down Nunez in the box. Although the ball was rolling out of play, Haaland, he scores the ensuing is the word I was looking for, penalty, and it gives City the lead and the win. And then, of course, there's the craziness that happens with the third goal that doesn't happen and maybe should have counted but didn't count. A lot of craziness going on, Vic, but we'll start with the penalty first off, because the penalty was what ultimately gave City the second goal and the lead. Did you think that it was a penalty, and should it have stood?
Yeah, you're talking about the one where Salah had his shirt ripped, right? You know, because he got pulled. Is that what you're talking about?
No. That's not
different one. Sorry. I was looking at our match notes. So
I'm talking about. I mean, you tell me about that one. I didn't catch that one.
So that one was kind of rolling in the box. I don't know if it was a penalty or outside the box, but they didn't call it. It should have been a red card as Salah blew past the defender, but he got pulled enough to rip his jersey.
Yes.
They didn't call
Mark
it.
A. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. I completely jumped over what you were talking about. We can go back to that if you want.
No. That's fine, because I did want to talk about that one, because I think the understanding for that one is because it wasn't at the goal directly. It was on the wing outside. I mean, technically box, but like on the very outside of it. And so it wasn't clear and obvious that he was going to shoot right then, or had the opportunity to. I mean, yes, it's Salah, and he shoots from all different angles and scores, and maybe not this season, but either way, it just Okay, I can see your point on that one. No, the one I was talking about though was the one that City got to get their second goal, where it was Nunez getting taken down in the box by Alisson. And in my eyes, I saw it happen, and I was like, okay, yes, it's a foul, but the ball was going out of bounds. Like it was going to be out of play. So does he need that penalty? I mean, if it happens in the middle of the pitch, it's still a foul. But in this context, where it's basically giving them the game, it just seemed kind of crazy. But I understood it. I mean, I wasn't blown away. It wasn't too outlandish. But what did you think?
I do remember now. My bad. But so when I first saw it live, I was like, "That's not a foul. Get up! Like, what are you doing?" And then they showed the reverse angle. I was like, "Yeah, okay." I do think it was a foul. As far as the game goes, I think that was a foul, unfortunately, and it cost us the game. But it kind of sucks, because this is the game that, and we've had a bunch of one goal losses from other teams, and most of the time people start making excuses, and most of the time I'd be like, we didn't even play good enough to get that win. Like, there's no reason we should be arguing about this. But this game, we played good enough to get that win, and we still didn't get the win.
I thought so too.
That's what pissed me off most of the time.
I mean, let's talk about the final thing that probably pissed you off more, though, is the red card. Well, so the ball is kicked by Ryan Cherky. It's rolling in. Haaland sprinting towards it. Szoboszlai pulls him back. And he pulls Szoboszlai back. And the ball ends up going in the net, and it's a goal. It's 3-1, and they put the game to bed. But it goes to VAR, and VAR decides that no, because the rushing attacker Haaland was pulled back, it's going to be a red card for Szoboszlai, and the goal doesn't count. They're pulling the goal back, which is just weird to me, because essentially what they're saying is you're giving Szoboszlai a red card for potentially impeding the goal scoring opportunity, but the goal scored. Like, why are we even changing that? Just let it be. Maybe give him a yellow card, but it was insane that they decided to make that call.
Yeah, that one was pretty crazy. I turned it off like immediately after that, so I didn't really watch the follow. But I will say that as far as for the game, I think they should have just waved it off, let the goal stand, and just be like, okay, we know shit happened. But I will say that, and I told my coworker this, there's only two people we have, or maybe three, that I know are playing for the Shield, the Liverpool Shield, and that's Szoboszlai, that's Rio Ingamo, and Michael Chiesa. But those are the only three that we have that are playing for the Shield. So, of course, even though it's a stupid move, Szoboszlai is going to be like, no, you're not going to score that goal. He grabs him and pulls him back. So I do appreciate that, because he's playing for Liverpool. He's playing for the city of Liverpool. That's what I like to see. Everyone else out there, it seems like they're just trying to get their paycheck and go home. So, I'm in the air with it.
There's a lot of pressure put on Slot after the game, just about like how his teams continue to lose these games, which is just, it's so stupid. There's no question that he should be unmessed with until at least the summer, and probably even past that. The dude wins the league in his first year, and then everybody's like, oh, it's a mediocre second year. I mean, you're still probably going to get the Champions League, and people are crying about it. It's like spoiled Liverpool fans. You know what I mean? Spoiled Liverpool fans. So, okay. We've talked about this one. Let's move on.
Yeah, we are feeding a fed horse, right? That's what we're doing.
Yes, feeding a fed horse. That's right.
All right. We'll go ahead and move on. As your second match, was Manchester United able to make it 4 in a row as they beat the lowly Spurs 2-0?
Hey, you didn't have to do that adjective. You just said Spurs. Well, we were robbed of what could have been a great game with an early first half straight red card for Christian Romero, which again is the theme of this weekend. Kuti he lashed out on social media against the club ownership, and then he goes in and gets a first half red card. And it's funny because he lashed out at ownership because they didn't go and buy more players and left the team undermanned. And then he literally takes the team down to 10 men by getting sent off in the first half. It really feels like he's trying to force a move here, but either way, prior to the red card, it felt like it was actually going to be in for a good, close match. After that red card, Spurs haven't been particularly good at all this season, and even more so when they were a man down. And Mbeumo and Fernandes do the damage for United, and they get their 4th win in a row, and that dude's scalp is tingling. He can feel the Clippers coming close to it. Carrick has his team playing inspired ball, and even though they were not great against the 10 men for Spurs for most of the game, it should have been a much, much worse scoreline. They just keep winning. It doesn't matter. They take on the next guy, the next team, whatever you want to say, and it's West Ham, and more than likely they get a win there, and they get 5 in a row, and Manchester United are seemingly back. Now, I don't think we can say it's a new manager bounce anymore, but he's the interim still, and interim managers, they do good. They get the new manager bounce. But if they decide to make him the full-time manager after how good he's been, Vic, do they start sucking? Because that's what Manchester United do. They get a new manager, and then they suck. So we'll see. Maybe I'm just bitter because this was a stupid loss, but either way, let's talk about something happier.
Let's hope so. Let's hope they do that. Let's hope they get that.
Do we want to see the guy shave his head though? Because that's the question I've really had. Is like, this is his whole shtick. This is his whole thing. If he shaves his head, then what? Who after that? Who cares? It's done. Yeah. I kind of want them to lose.
I know. I think it'll be pretty hilarious if West Ham pulls this off. But I saw somebody else post a meme and was saying this guy is sweating because he's realizing he's gonna have to get a real job soon because he's been just getting paid off of this thing.
Yeah, all of this stuff. Yeah, when he shaves his head, no one's gonna care about it anymore. Yeah, it's like, oh wait, you're the guy who did this, that one time. But if it would be hilarious if West Ham wins this match. Like, we're all going to be laughing because he's just going to have to go another year with growing out that hair. Hey, but you're right. He wouldn't have to get a job for another year. He was getting paid from being this crazy dude. So, okay. I think that was it. I don't want to talk about Spurs anymore. It wasn't a good time. We do have midweek madness to go to before we get out of here. So let's move on.
All right, and those are your top matches and headlines for Premier League Match Day 25. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the match day. Sorry, everyone, we're done talking about our teams. We'll go ahead and start as it starts on Friday as Leeds prove they're better at being number 16, better than Nottingham Forest, getting a 3-1 win.
Leeds make a huge statement of their intent to stay up in the Prem this season. They were up 3-0 before Forest even scored a late goal to make the scoreline look a little better. This one wasn't close, though. Maybe it was the magic of the bright lights at Ellen Road, but either way, it's a huge win for Leeds.
We then move on to Saturday, and it started with your No Business Soccer podcast top match. That was Man U and Spurs. We already talked y'all to death about that, so we'll go on to Everton, making it 5 straight without a loss, and they beat Fulham 2-1. And yes, Danny P, at least for right now, they're the best team in Liverpool.
As of right now, I guess, yes. But honestly, I still have no idea how Fulham didn't win this game. And even worse, they end up losing this game. Credit to the Toffees who we were all rooting for here. Don't get it twisted. But Fulham, Well, yeah, I guess maybe not Hype Man Vic over
Not
there,
all of us.
But Fulham hit the post and the crossbar numerous times, and there were so many missed chances when it was still 1-0. And it always happens in this game when you don't beat a team. That whenever you have a lead and you don't get that second goal, you always leave them in there. In Everton, they do just that. They stay in it. They decide that they're going to flip a switch, score some goals, and it bit Fulham in the ass. And that's exactly what Everton did with goals from our Dudesbury Hall. I messed that up. How can we, like, what's his first name? Kieran, I think, right? We got to call him Kieran, our Dudesbury Hall, something like that. We're working on it. But Dudesbury Hall. And that goal goes in. And then Lino's own goal in the 83rd, it gives Everton all 3 points. And, man, I'm sure that our boy Danny P is living on cloud 9 right now because Moyes is doing a job over there. They're not necessarily worried about anything other than going, like, they're looking up the table towards maybe getting into the Conference League or something at this point. They're doing really good. And they might be the only team that makes it into Europe from our teams. So,
yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
Saturday continue with Burnley proving the below in relegation. I have no idea what I was trying to say. They lose 2-0 against another relegation squad, West Ham, and Burnley proving that they want to stay in relegation. That's, I think, what I was trying to say. My fault.
Well, it's a battle at the bottom of the table. How about that? It's a 6-pointer, and both teams had to win this one. Burnley specifically, they absolutely needed to win at home, and they just decided to no-show. That's exactly what West Ham took advantage of. They go up 2-0. It's more likely at this point that Burnley goes down, which I think Burnley and Wolves are pretty much locks to go down. But either way, Crescencio Somerville for West Ham looks amazing right now. He scored 5 goals in the past 5, or he scored in each of the past 5 games, put it that way. And they look like they're back on track. It's going to be a very tough game for United because this team are in form. And I would say Manchester are probably more in form, but we'll talk about that more when it comes around. Either way, West Ham starting to look like a team that's not going down, Vic.
Sí, y ay que triste otra vez. Your league leaders continuing the reputation as they easily beat Sunderland 3-0.
Arsenal took a bit to get going in this one. They end up putting Sunderland down fairly easy in the end. As we've said before, Sunderland are not the same team away from the Stadium of Light. Arsenal also didn't score from a corner. It was 3 open play goals for them, and Gyökeres gets a brace in this one. Very cool. Also, Hype Man Vic owes me lunch. He said that Sunderland wouldn't lose by more than a goal, and 3 goals does it, bud.
Great. That's just fun. I hope you feel good about yourself. Next up, we have Chelsea also having 4 wins in a row as they beat the lowly Wolverhampton Wanderers 3-0.
Wolves get their 3rd straight loss at the hands of Chelsea after a first half Cole Palmer hat trick, and it was enough to do the trick. Wolves got a goal in the second half. But by that point is what I'm trying to freaking say. Chelsea were just seeing out the game. Also, Cole Palmer, he has a record for first half hat tricks. I believe it's 3 in the Prem, and he's the only one. No other person in the Prem has had that many first half hat tricks. So well done, Cold Palmer.
Damn, cool. Saturday continued with Bournemouth and Aston Villa getting a goal apiece, a point apiece, drawing 1-1.
In the preview for this one, I said that I didn't think Bournemouth would be good enough to beat Villa outright, but should have enough to force a draw, and that's exactly what happened here. Villa they'll leave this one feeling like they were the better team overall and probably deserved the win, but they couldn't get that second goal for insurance, and they paid the price. Bournemouth starting to uptick in form a little bit.
And then Saturday ended with Newcastle continuing their slide as they get beat at home 3-2 by Brentford.
Newcastle lose their 3rd straight game in the Prem, and this was a brutal loss to Brentford. They score first in front of their home fans, Newcastle that is, and then they proceed to give up 2 goals to go behind, and it was all doom and gloom until a penalty in the 79th minute sees Bruno Guimaraes step up. He levels the score, and it wasn't a win, but better than a loss until Ouattara gets loose just 6 minutes later to break the hearts of the Toon faithful, and it sends the Bees home with all 3 points. And just whenever you were starting to feel like a little disappointed that they drew this game, they go and lose it, and it is much worse now. Similar to Slot over there in Liverpool, started to bring that back up, and Thomas Frank in Spurs. Eddie Howe starting to get looked at because he has lost a lot of games with his Newcastle side this season.
We then moved on to Sunday, as Crystal Palace are finally able to get back in the win, getting the 1-0 win against Brighton.
An early goal for Palace to get them 3 points on the road, and it helps ease the pressure on Glasner and provide a little bit of relief to the fans after a horrible run of form. I think it was 11 or 12 matches without a win, something like that. But it switched to the other side of the pitch with the Brighton fans singing "You're Getting Sacked in the Morning" to Fabian Hürzeler, and Brighton just not looking good at the moment. After such a promising start, this was a team that I had pegged, and a lot of other people thought they were going to Europe this season, get it done finally. And yeah, not looking good, especially when your own fans are turning against your manager. It's a mutiny, Vic.
Yeah, and Sunday ended with your other No Business Soccer podcast top matchup. That was Liverpool and Man City. We already talked about that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the table. And on top, you will see not a friendly face. I don't never say that again. A familiar face. Arsenal, they have 56 points in the number 1 spot. Manchester City have 50 points in the number 2 spot after their win in the Liverpool sacrifice that we've made. Aston Villa are in the 3rd spot. They have 47 points, just 3 points behind Manchester City. And then rounding out our top 4 is Manchester United with 44 points, of course, on that 4-game win streak. Another team on a 4-game win streak is Chelsea. They are tickling our top 4. They have 43 points, just 1 point behind Manchester United. And then at the bottom of the table, you have West Ham United. Hopefully, everybody's going to be some West Ham supporters next week. They have 23 points in the number 18 spot. They are followed by Burnley, who have 15 points in the number 19 spot. And then, of course, the solid foundation for the Premier League, Wolverhampton Wanderers, 8 measly points, still have not broken double digits. And it's going to take a win or 2 draws to do so. I don't even think people are thinking they're going to get that. So I don't know. Yeah, it's looking rough for Wolverhampton.
And it sucks because we just assumed whenever they had 8 points at the beginning of January, it was going to be like, okay, well, they have plenty of games to not equal the Derby County record of, I think it was 12 points. Was that it? Or 11 points?
I think 12.
I think it's 11. Yeah. It was 11 because
11. Right.
because Southampton got 12 to not equal that. And so, yeah, anyways, Wolves, I mean, they would need a win and something else to not equal that. So, I mean, right now, not looking good for them. And I keep reading all these articles about Spurs being in a relegation battle, and then I look at their form, and there's not green inside it. It is red and gray, not looking good for them. I mean, 6 points above West Ham? So, in one hand, I'm like rooting for West Ham to win, because that'd be pretty effing hilarious, honestly. Like, to see this guy's just like, damn it, I don't get a haircut. But also, in more reasonable senses, if they win and Spurs lose, which could very well happen, we play Newcastle. They might be 3 points outside of the relegation. That's not cool, dude. That is not cool. Okay. Before we get out of here, though, we do have a midweek madness to go over real quick. A couple of big matches. That one that brought up Spurs Newcastle is on. If you're watching this on Tuesday, today at Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. We also have a couple of bigger ones. Everton taking on Bournemouth, and that one's at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. And we know that Everton have been on a pretty big bounce there. The game we've been talking about is also at 2:15. That is West Ham at home against Manchester United. And I think that's the one we're all going to be watching. We all know why. That's pretty hilarious stuff going on there. A big 6-pointer at the bottom of the table. Nottingham Forest takes on Wolves at the City Ground. Aston Villa taking on Brighton. What else do we got here? We have Sunderland Liverpool at the Stadium of Light. Ooh, no way y'all lose that one, right? And then,
I'm
of course,
not betting anymore.
Your league leaders, Arsenal. Damn it. That was a good one. I should just bet you for that one. Anyway, league leaders, Arsenal, going on the road to the G-Tech to take on the informed Brentford. Brentford what were they, Vic? Like 5? No, there's 7.
7th, yes.
7, but they're on level on points with Liverpool in 6. So, I mean, come on. It's y'all sacrificed a win so that we don't have to see Arsenal up on that podium winning the league. And so now Brentford, let's just do it again. Let's get it done. Okay.
Yes.
That is enough talking for us for one day, Vic. DJ, play our music. Vic, take us home.
All right, everyone. Thank you for spending some time with us and talking about some European football, of course. Be sure to like and subscribe on all of our social medias. Everything is at No Business Soccer Podcast, except for TikTok, except for Twitter, because those names are too damn long. That is at No Biz Sock Pod. Everyone enjoy the Premier League midweek matchup, and we will all talk to you very soon and talk about the next match day. Peace.
Peace.